Happy Monday, Pathlings. I'm Spin Pixie, your Monday hostess, and this week we're going to be talking about the moon. My topic is the lunar mansions. When we are beginning to create magic, such as talismans, sigils, and spells, we often hear about the phases of the moon, the zodiac, or the houses where the moon is stationed, or the planetary hours and their aspects upon the things which we do, and how they can influence our spells. What is often overlooked and even unbeknownst to us when we are beginning to create magic are the mansions of the moon. The mansions of the moon, or Mazil al-Qamar, the resting places of the moon in Arabic, are the stations which track the moon's orbit around the Earth, which takes about 27.32 days. The origins of the mansions of the moon are a mystery lost to antiquity and have been highly debated throughout time. There are two definitive philosophies for dividing the boundaries that make up the lunar mansions. One of these traditions is the Indian astrology known as Vedic astrology, and this has 27 mansions. The other is the Arabic and Chinese astrologies, which contain 28 mansions. Since Arabic astrology is the basis for Western European astrology and is the system that most Renaissance mages used, this 28 mansion system would be the most popular and will be the one that we are going to be talking about today. It is important before we continue to understand that the lunar mansions are not to be confused with the lunar phases. The lunar phases, i.e. waxing, waning, dark, new, etc., pertain to the moon's relationship to the sun, while the lunar mansions pertain to the moon's orbit around the Earth. The original boundaries of the mansions of the moon were determined by the location of certain fixed stars, and so were irregular in size. Later in Arabic, then in Western astrologies, the mansions were standardized to approximately 12 degrees and 51 minutes. This approximation refers to the division of the sky as the moon makes its orbit around the Earth. For example, dividing 360 degrees, the moon's path around the sky, into 28 sections, we get 12.857 degrees, or 12 degrees and 51 minutes, and 28 seconds for the size of the arc for each lunar mansion. Now just be sure to keep in mind that the phases of the moon, whether waxing, waning, etc., they do impact the lunar mansion's abilities. So just keep that in mind when you are using the lunar mansions. Now, I can try and expand upon this, but being that I'm not that versed in astrology, I'll just leave it there for now, because I don't want to confuse you by not having, I'm not the best astrologer, so I'm not even going to try to perpetrate. There are 28 mansions, and each mansion has its own name and number. You will find that these mansions are in Arabic, and in my opinion, are pretty hard to pronounce. Each mansion has its own good points and bad points, and the easiest way to learn how to work with these lunar mansions is to use the Ilunarium website that's going to be in the description. I'm always talking about that website. Okay, so for this part, I thought I would switch to my phone because I find it easier to do this from my phone than my iPad, seeing as how I don't have a screen recorder on there. So when you go to the link in the description, you're going to come here to Ilunarium, and what you're going to see is the planetary days going across left to right, and going down you're going to see the planetary hours. What it is important to do when you first get here is to come to this little bar right here, where it says location. Scroll all the way to where it says edit, and edit that information, because the mansions, planetary hours and days, etc., those all correlate very specifically to the area around you. So even if I'm just, I guess, a state off or a town off, it could be different for somebody else. Well, maybe not a town off, but a state off at least. So anyhow, so when you come here, you're going to want to go up here to where it says calendars and click on that. What you're going to do when you get to calendars is you're going to see a bunch of different things, including the legend for the calendar, which is right here. I'm going to try to move in, but my website's been really weird trying to do this video. So on this legend, you're going to see the phases of the moon, what sign or what house the moon is in, anything that the moon is doing, whether it's going void of course, a lunar day. And this square is what we're paying attention to here, which is the lunar station or the lunar mansion. Okay, so let's take today's date, and we're going to look at the lunar mansion. And it is in the 21st square, or rather the 21st mansion, as of about 5:46 p.m. this evening. So if I want to know more about that particular mansion, what I'm going to do is tap on it, and it'll highlight yellow, and this little synopsis of the mansion will come up. And it'll tell you what it is good for, what it is bad for, and the name of the mansion, which, as I said before, is in Arabic and can be very hard to pronounce. It'll tell you what the moon is good for, what the moon is bad for. What the moon is good for is what you want to do the spells for, or use the influence of that energy for. If you click on where it says, let me bring it back up. If you click on where it says more information, it will bring you to a site which has more information about the Lunar Mansion. And what this will do is it'll tell you from I believe it's the Christopher Warnock Mansions of the Moon book that it's pulling from. And it will give you more information upon each mansion, all up to all 28. I believe it has all 28 in here. You can search them all up. And I have found from personal experience that using the powers of the Lunar Mansions within spells can be very potent. If you are fortunate enough to find a copy of the Picatrix in the public domain, never let it go. Otherwise, you can find a copy of Christopher Warnock's Mansions of the Moon, and that should serve your purposes just fine. So that is my time today, and I hope you enjoyed the video. I will see you next week, and have a wonderful week. Many, many blessings, and thanks for watching. Bye-bye.